All right, here we go. This is assignment 10.3, so unit 10, lesson 3. What this is going to be dealing with is two different categories of, one is reference angles, and the second one is a thing called coterminal angles. Again, both of these are available to everybody right down on kind of like on the bottom left-hand portion of the reference page right there. Just check it out. It's almost, you can't get it wrong proof. So just look at it and you should be fine. All right, the first thing that we are going to talk about is a thing called reference angles. I'm not sure. All right, reference angles. All right, and so what this is this. All right, here is our kind of like an XY coordinate. What it is generally how many degrees is it from the x-axis? Okay, what is the smallest amount of degrees from the x-axis? So if my angle is like, for instance, right here, this would be the reference angle right there. And so the reference angle would generally be just whatever angle it is. Okay? If your angle is out here somewhere, okay, this would be the reference angle. All right? So what that would be in that situation is that would be 180 degrees minus whatever degree mark it is. So if it's at 130 degrees, if it's at 130 degrees, the reference angle would be 50 degrees. So it's how many degrees it is to that x-axis. If the angle is out here somewhere, right? If it's angle out here, this would be the reference angle. And so what that would be is the angle minus 180 degrees. So for instance, if it's at 200 degrees, it's at 200 degrees, the reference angle would be 20 degrees. And last but not least is if the angle is down here in quadrant 4, this would be your reference angle, and generally, so to speak, the reference angle is going to be 360 degrees minus whatever the angle is. Okay, so that's kind of a quick version of what a reference angle is. Let's go ahead and talk about coterminal. Let's go ahead and talk about coterminal. What coterminal is what are other angles that are technically the same exact angle? Okay, so for instance, right, let's say I give you a 30-degree angle right here. Okay, 30-degree angle. Technically, what is the exact same angle as 30 degrees? Well, what you do is this. You take your angle, and what you do is you add a circle to it. You add a circle to it. You go all the way around the circle. So this would be the same thing as saying 390 degrees. 390 degrees is the same thing as 30 degrees. Okay? And then you can do it again. Okay, you can go around a circle again, which would be the same thing as saying 750 degrees. It's the same thing as saying 750 degrees. So what all I'm doing is I'm taking this this measurement and I'm adding circles onto it. Okay, I'm just adding circles onto it. And then you can do it in the reverse order. You can take circles off of it. All right, so minus 360 would be negative 330. Negative 330, so that'd be going backwards 330 degrees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so those are coterminal angles. So you get your angle, and you add a whole bunch of circles to it, and you subtract a whole bunch of circles from it. That's coterminals. So what they technically are is angles that are exactly the same angle. All right, so here we go. What is the reference angle? So here is the reference angle right here. And so in this situation, that would be 180 minus the angle. So this reference angle is whatever 180 minus 135 is. 45 degrees. Okay, what is the reference angle? Okay, this is the reference angle. Again, you go right back to the x-axis. All right, so this reference angle in this situation is going to be the angle minus 180. What is the reference angle? Okay, that's where the x-axis is, and that is where the reference angle is the angle. Okay, here they're talking about radians, so that's not that big of a deal. Here's the reference angle, so the reference angle will be the angle itself. All right. When you're talking about radians and you need to give a reference angle in radians, you can use the side formula sheet, but just substitute 180 as being pi or 360 as being 2 pi. Just make the substitution. Easy peasy. All right, here is the reference angle. So the reference angle is 180 minus that, or AKA 1 pi minus 3 pi over 5. So what I'm doing is, in essence, I'm taking 1 minus 3/5, and then I'm just having a pi on whatever that answer is. So 1 minus 3/5 is 2/5. So this is AKA 2/5. Okay, so here is the reference angle right here. So the reference angle is, in essence, 360 minus the angle. So that's going to be 2 pi minus 7 pi over 4, 7/4 pi. So I'm taking 2 minus 7/4. 2 minus 7/4. 1/4. So this is going to be 1/4 pi. Okay, two positive coterminal angles. I'm going to try to make this look like how the test is going to look. All right, so what I do first and foremost is I write down the angle that they give me. Okay, 115 degrees. And what I also do is I write down what is that in radians. So I have to divide by 180 to make that happen. So this is the same thing as saying 5/6 pi. Right, I'll get to that in just a moment. All right, back to the degrees. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add circles to it. So let's add 360 degrees to this 150 degrees. So that's the same thing as saying 510, 870. Okay, and then I'm also going to subtract circles from it. Negative 210, negative 570. And I could do that all day, but usually 2 circles is enough, usually. All right, so this is what they gave me right here. And then I added circles to it, and I subtracted circles from it. Okay, I do that to the radians as well. So I add circles. So AKA I add 2 pi to it, or AKA 2. So 5/6 plus 2 plus 2 and then 5/6 minus 2. Okay. Because what the test is going to ask you is they're going to give you a whole bunch of different options. And then the question on the test is going to ask, identify all of the coterminal angles. Now, some of them might be in degrees, some of them might be in radians, some of them might be, something weird. And so what you just gave yourself is you gave yourself the ability to identify any of them, no matter how they're presented. All right. This one just wants two positives, so there's two positives right there. But I'm trying to prep you for the test itself. So the answer on the test would be like, well, is 17 over 6 pi a coterminal angle of that? And you could say, yes, it is. Okay. All right. You could do that. Okay, here we go. So here they present us with 315 degrees. All right, so that is the same thing as saying 315 divided by 180, 7/4. Okay, here we go. Let's add circles to it. And let's take circles away from it. All right, same with the 7/4. Let's add circles to it, or AKA plus 2s. And take circles away from it. Okay, so all of these are coterminal angles. They want two positives. So I'll give them the next two positives from the one that they presented. Okay, so here they give me 13 pi over 4. All right, so 13 over 4 times 180 is the same thing as saying 585 degrees. Those are the same thing. So 13 over 4, let's go ahead and add circles to it. So plus 2. And let's take circles away from it. So 13 over 4 minus circles. So this would be negative 5, oh, excuse me, positive 5/4. Positive 5/4 and negative 3/4. Okay. Same with the 585. Let's add circles. So it's 945 and 1,305. And take circles away from it. $225 and negative 135. So they want two positives. So I'll give them two positives, two of the lowest positives that aren't itself. And so I would probably say these two, because again, the original question was in radians. So I'll give them the two positive radians that are the smallest positive. All right, same idea, 7/4. So 7/4 times 180 is the same thing as saying 315 degrees. All right, here we go. So 7/4, let's add circles. So we have 15/4 and 23/4. most likely going to be my answers. And 7/4, 7/4 minus 2's. All right, same with the 315, add circles. And subtract circles. All right, so what are two positive coterminal angles? So the next two positives would be those.